Hi guys, this is Dormouse03. Welcome back to Mass Effect 1, the Legendary Edition, with me, your wonderful, quote-unquote wonderful, player, to take you through the series. So we have just become a Spectre, and I'm going to see if there are a couple more people that I think we maybe can talk to now that we are Spectres. Let's see.
Congratulations on becoming the first human Spectre, Commander. I'm certain you'll be up to the challenge.
I appreciate that.
My name is Admiral Kahoku. It's about time the Alliance got one of our own in with the Spectres. We need people like you to deal with our problems.
Problems, you say?
Is something wrong, Admiral?
I'm getting stonewalled by bureaucratic assholes. Nothing new. Maybe you can help me, Shepard. One of my recon teams was investigating some strange activity out in the Traverse. We lost contact yesterday. Now I can't get clearance to check it out. Suddenly it's a restricted area. But that doesn't apply to you, Shepard. Spectres can go anywhere they want. You could find out why my team dropped out of contact.
All right, sir.
I'll find them, Admiral.
I appreciate that, Commander. I was running out of options. I'm gonna stay here and see if I can find anything out through official channels. Won't hold my breath, though.
Alright, so that gives us...
the info on where my team was last seen to your ship. Maybe you can get some answers.
another little side quest for us. Let's head to our embassy. And see if they have a ship for us. I wonder what ship it could possibly be. I don't know. What ship could we possibly get? And what crew would we take? Oh, let's see if Nisana Dantius finally wants to talk to us. I think she might.
I don't have time to talk now.
Ugh.
I'm very busy.
Yes, you're very busy. Do you want my help or do you not want my help? Later, I guess. Okay. Nope. This isn't where we're going. Where are we going? The docking bay. Oh, right. Also, nope. We have some more points to put into things. Alright, so we have a little bit more into charm. Now we have Spectre training. Ah, this is a good ability here. But let's grab a neural shock right there. And yeah, let's start building that one up. Why not? So, docking bay. I'm pretty sure CSEC is close. And then we have lots of conversations to have with people after we get back on our ship. That's not what we want. Is this the one that we want? Yes.
So
docking bay.
Williams, you happy you signed on with Commander Shepard?
I'm not sure, Lieutenant. Every time I think I have a handle on things, the universe bank's hard to port.
Well, don't let anybody know. A big gun and a confident attitude will get you through a lot in life.
You know, I was right here while you guys were having that discussion. Oh boy. All right. Let's get our ship off the ground.
I've got big news for you, Shepard. Captain Anderson is stepping down as commanding officer of the Normandy. The ship is yours now.
She's quick and quiet, and you know the crew. Perfect ship for a Spectre. Treat her well, Commander.
I'll take good care of her, sir.
I know you will, Commander.
I want the truth. Why are you stepping down, sir?
You needed your own ship. A Spectre can't answer to anyone but the Council. And it's time for me to step down.
Come clean with me, Captain. You owe me that much.
I was in your shoes 20 years ago, Shepard. They were considering me for the Spectres.
What happened?
I failed. I couldn't make the cut. It's not something I'm proud of. Ask me later and I'll tell you the whole story. For now, all you need to know is, I was sent on a mission with Saren, and he made sure the Council rejected me. I had my shot. It came and went. Now you have a chance to make up for my mistakes.
I won't let you down, sir.
Saren's gone. Don't even try to find him. But we know what he's after. The conduit. He's got his Geth scouring the Traverse looking for clues.
We had reports of Geth in the Pharos system shortly before our colony there dropped out of contact, and there have been sightings around Noveria.
Find out what Saren was after on Pharos and Noveria. Maybe you can figure out where the conduit is before he does.
The Reapers are the real threat.
I'm with the Council on this one, Shepard. I'm not sure they even exist.
But if they do exist, the conduit's the key to bringing them back. Stop Saren from getting the conduit, and we stop the Reapers from returning.
I'll stop him.
We have one more lead. Matriarch Benezia, the other voice in that recording. She has a daughter, a scientist who specializes in the Protheans. We don't know if she's involved, but it might be a good idea to try and find her. See what she knows. Her name's Liara, Dr. Liara Tassoni. We have reports she was exploring an archaeological dig on one of the uncharted worlds in the Artemis Tau cluster.
Sounds like we should head for the Artemis Tau cluster.
It's your decision, Commander. You're a Spectre now. You don't answer to us.
Your actions still reflect on humanity as a whole. You make a mess and I get stuck cleaning it up.
I'll try not to make things any harder on you, Ambassador.
Glad to hear it, Commander. Remember, you were a human long before you were a Spectre. I have a meeting to get to. Captain Anderson can answer any questions you might have.
Yes, Commander?
How are you holding up?
Honestly, this isn't how I pictured my career coming to an end. Pushing papers really isn't my thing, but you're the one who can stop Saren. I believe in you, Shepard. If that means I have to step aside, so be it.
Any extra intel you can give me on our colony at Pharos?
The entire planet used to be one giant Prothean city, mostly ruins now. But some of the infrastructure is still intact. The colony tried to build on what the Protheans left behind. We lost all contact with them when the Geth attacked.
What do you know about the Artemis Tau cluster?
Not much. I've never been there myself. A handful of systems with a few small, uncharted worlds, but no real colonies. Might not be easy finding Dr. Tassoni out there. My advice is to look for the world with the Prothean ruins.
What can you tell me about Novaria?
Novaria's trouble. Always has been. The whole planet's basically a center for corporations to conduct illegal research. Watch your back there, Shepard. Spectres are about the only form of Citadel authority Novaria respects. But they aren't popular.
I want to know the truth about you and Saren. I want to know about the mission you were on together all those years ago.
We had intel on a rogue scientist being funded by Batarian interests. He was trying to set up a facility to develop illegal AI technology out in the Verge. Alliance intel had done all the work, but the Council wanted a Spectre involved. We compromised. I was assigned to help Saren in his investigation. We tracked the scientist to a refining facility on Kamala. He was hidden away somewhere inside, protected by an army of Batarian mercenaries. The plan was simple. Sneak into the plant, capture the scientist, sneak back out. Quick, quiet, and a minimum of bloodshed.
I'm guessing things didn't go as planned?
Saren and I split up to cover more ground. Then about halfway through the mission, there was a massive explosion in the refinery core. Officially, it was ruled an accident, but I think Saren detonated it on purpose to draw off the enemy guards.
How many casualties?
The explosion tore the refinery to shreds. The whole place was on fire. Black chemical clouds poured out into the atmosphere. Nobody inside survived. There was a camp for the workers and their families nearby. Between the fires and the toxic fumes, the final death count was over 500. Mostly civilians. Saren didn't care. The target was eliminated, mission accomplished, and I ended up taking the blame. That ended all talk of me joining the Spectres.
Saren caused the explosion. How'd he pin it on you?
In his report, Saren accused me of blowing his cover. He said it was my fault the guards were ready for us. He claimed that's why it turned into a massacre. Saren's report was all the proof the Council needed to kill my chances of becoming a Spectre.
Don't blame yourself, Captain.
I don't. I blame Saren. I think he wanted things to go bad. He was looking for an excuse to blow that refinery. Maybe he just likes the violence. Maybe he was just trying to make me look bad to keep humans out of the Spectres. If so, he pulled it off.
Why'd you let him get away with it?
Who do you think the Council was going to listen to? Me? Or their best agent? I had a bad feeling about him right from the start. I should have been more careful. Maybe I could have stopped things before they got out of hand.
The only thing I care about is stopping Saren.
You're right, Commander. It's no good living in the past.
I should go.
I'll be here if you need anything.
Anderson. Alright. Take a look at that. Alright, I have one more thing I want to do here. And better do it before
In other news, Exogeny Corp is still denying
we get on the
reports that
ship.
one of their survey teams has gone missing in the Hades Gamma Cluster. When asked why communication with the survey team was suddenly cut off last week, company officials refused to comment.
Exogeny. Gonna find out more about them. Alright. Oh, and we got that achievement for getting all the codex entries about the different Alliance races. The last one must have been Batarians there when they were talking about them. So, very cool. We want to go to... Where do we want to go to? We're trying to go back and see the stupid Hanar Prophet. I'm hoping I have enough points in freaking Charm now. I almost am like 2/3 of the way through that tree. So, dang. Hopefully that'll be enough. Alright, where is this dude? Alright, bro.
That Hanar refuses to listen to reason.
We
Why
know.
can't it act in an orderly and lawful manner?
Oops.
Are there laws being broken here?
I am not unreasonable. The Hanar is free to spew its nonsense.
I think you should let the Hanar preach in the Presidium.
The Presidium is a place of... Why should the jellies get special treatment? Every other species understands and obeys the laws.
Alright.
Has anyone actually complained about this Hanar?
Not yet, but any good CSEC officer removes problems before they create a public nuisance.
Oh, come on, dude.
You've explained the law. If the Hanar gets in trouble, it has nobody to blame but itself.
I suppose I can tell my superior that I attempted a diplomatic solution. Some other CSEC officer can arrest the Hanar. It's no longer my problem. Thank you for your assistance.
Alright. Hey, buddy.
The officer has left, and this one is free to share the glory of the Enkindlers. This one offers its appreciation.
Happy to help.
This one has little money, but it can offer this. Now finally, this one can continue sharing the truth unimpeded. Let all races herald the glory of the Enkindlers who raised them all to enlightenment. Where there was only darkness, the Enkindlers gave light. Where there was only ignorance, the Enkindlers gave wisdom. Where there was only silence, the Enkindlers gave the gift of speech. This very station is the work of the Enkindlers, their gift to all their children.
You live your best life there, Hanar. All right, and that is it. Let's get out of this place. Head back to the docks and take the Normandy out and head to the Artemis Tau cluster and pick up our last crew member, Dr. Tassoni.
Coming up in a report later today, Emily Wong investigates corruption on the Citadel and
Yep, we heard this
uncovers
one
a
already.
full-blown crime syndicate.
So that is the Citadel, and your really nice introduction to sort of galactic politics, I think. You really get a feel for like where everybody stands and which races are sort of on top and which races are on bottom. It's neat. Good little establishing scenes there. So, let's go on to the Normandy.
Shore party. Decontamination in progress.
Decontamination in progress.
I heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Captain Anderson should be the one in charge. It's like I'm stealing the ship from him.
Yeah, the captain got screwed. But it's not like you could have stopped it. Nobody's blaming you. Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
This is Commander Shepard speaking.
We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
For too long, our species has stood apart from the others.
Now it's time for us to step up and do our part for the rest of the galaxy. Time to show them what humans are made of.
Our enemy knows we're coming.
When we go into the Traverse, Saren's followers will be waiting for us. But we'll be ready for them, too.
Humanity needs to do this.
Not just for our own sake, but for the sake of every other species in Citadel space. Saren must be stopped, and I promise you all, we will stop him.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
The captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, ma'am.
Very heroic, is it not? Alright. We haven't talked to Joker.
Commander, something you need?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Oh, Joker. Your perpetual compensation for your perceived, well, I guess it's a little bit more than perceived inadequacies. He's, he's got some baggage, which makes his sort of bravado make sense, but I don't know. Joker, I get why people like him, but he was never really my favorite character, unfortunately.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
What are you talking about? Are you sick?
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolic Syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bone.
Yeah.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
You're dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
I need to know more about this Vrolic Syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
Yeah. So, he has that Vrolic Syndrome. He worked his ass off to get where he is and prove that he could do things. Because I imagine he got a lot of people who said that he couldn't. You'll never be a pilot. You'll never be a Marine. You can't do that with that disease. And so, I get it. I think it may be just because he's voiced by Seth Green that I give him a little bit more flack than he probably deserves, because I don't particularly love Seth Green. He does a great job with his voice acting. Like, don't get me wrong. Very well voiced. Just, you know, isn't my favorite voice to hear, I suppose. So yeah, I get why he is a little bit snarky and a little bit defensive and quick to, you know, point out how great he is, because he is great, and it feels like he sort of needs that acknowledgement, probably because of all the shit he's been through. So I get it. We'll give you a pass, Joker. Okay, that is the exit. We do not want to go there. We want to come over here and we want to talk to Kaiden and Ashley and Wrex and Garrus and Tali. And Navigator Pressley.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
We're all on the same team here, Pressley.
With all due respect, ma'am, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Well, it's not like he wasn't on our side. He got murdered.
Speak freely, Pressley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Carry on, Pressley.
Yes, ma'am.
Pressley. And again, just nice touches here. You know, some people don't care about the aliens, some people do. And it makes sense that they would. Let's see. It's our comlink. This is where we speak to the council whenever we need to do that between missions. Okay. So let's see. Hey, it's Dr. Chakwas. Let's chat with her.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth, or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
How well do you know the Lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific side effects. Kaiden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
Woo! Mental disabilities, insanity, and crippling physical pain. Sounds excellent. Sign me up to be a biotic.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Okay. No one's in here yet. Sup, Kaiden?
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander.
Okay. He had nothing to say. Alright. Nobody is there, so let's go down to the, down to the shuttle bay here. And speak with our other 3 crew members. Alright. Well, let's talk with you
Looking
first.
for supplies?
Sure.
Let's see what you got.
You bet, Commander.
Can I sell stuff to you? I can. Excellent. Let's see. Definitely sell that. Probably we can sell that. Okay. Surely we can sell more of these at some point, but for right now we'll keep them. Any more upgrades that you've got here, buddy? No. Okay.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Yeah, definitely it will be, Garrus. Time to establish our relationship as best buds.
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this.
And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I wasn't trying to. I understand, Commander.
It's okay, Garrus.
Commander, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, bud. What's up, Wrex?
Nice ship you've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Wrex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
Aw, come on.
You Krogans live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Sorry, Wrex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
So long, Wrex.
Shepard.
Shepard. I think you're wrong.
Commander?
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duties squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit.
Yes, ma'am. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
Girl, don't do that to yourself.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
They have flashlight heads, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
What's up, Adams?
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tali? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tali, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth system. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us.
Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster-than-light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Right, so we find out about some things about the Normandy that make it special and make it sort of perfectly equipped to serve our needs here. You know, we have that stealth system and we're faster than other ships, so that's important.
Carry on, Adams.
And again, like the way that this whole thing comes together is like you become this sort of perfect cohesion of things. It's like everything sort of lines up. You have Shepard, who is a sort of special individual, not because they were fated to be so, or because, you know, they have any kind of like superpowers or anything like that, but just because they have sort of this natural magnetism about them, and their personality is such that it sort of draws people to them. You can bring all these people together who otherwise would be fighting separately, you know, in their own little corners of the galaxy, and you can bring all these people, you know, into one crew and under one banner and serving the same purpose, and so that's really like what makes Shepard special. Not necessarily that she's a better soldier or she's a better commander, but she has that sort of force of will and force of personality, or I guess they do, he or she, has that force of personality and will that kind of pushes them to a higher tier, right? And that's what makes you unique and allows you to, you know, be the main character here. So, I don't know. Just talking about characters now, Shepard is awesome. Like a really good player character. And then you have this crew of really, really interesting people. You've got, as far as our sort of main squad, you know, you've got Kaiden, who is this kind of, I want to call him the nice guy, right? Like, he is sensitive and he is a thinker and he's interested in sort of more philosophical, intellectual sort of pursuits than you would expect from a regular Marine. He's got, everybody here has their own sort of past that they're trying to overcome, and we'll find out more about his later. But, you know, he's the one who's like, you know, he's got the, like, the heart, the soul, like he's more of a moral compass type character. And then you've got Garrus, who is awesome and is someone who has a lot of potential, but he sees through the BS that he is sort of perpetually surrounded with, all this red tape. And it's not because he wants to just do whatever he wants, Even though we challenge him on that a couple of times, it's not at all that he wants to just be free to do whatever. It's that he doesn't want to be held back from making the right call because of politics and the like, you know, and having to follow procedures, right? Like, he sees that sometimes doing the right thing means not doing the correct thing, if that makes sense. It means not necessarily following all those rules to a T. And so he's someone who is very he follows his own moral code, and because of that, that puts him at odds with the system that he is trying to protect. And so he sort of struggles with that a little bit. And again, he has his own sort of backstory stuff that he's going to be dealing with that we're going to help him with. Now, you've got Wrex here, who also is awesome. And he is... he's burnt out, right? Like, but you can tell that, like, he wants to have hope, right? I think even in these first little interactions that you have with him, where he talks about, you know, how his race is doomed and they're not going anywhere and they're on the verge of destroying themselves because they won't do what needs to be done to try to cure this genophage and to try to move past that sort of warrior mentality that they have. You can tell that he has tried, right? Like, he has tried to get through to them and failed to do that, and now he's jaded, right? But you can see through that a little bit to the reason why he's even bringing it up, and that he grumbles like, they'll never change. But you can tell that kind of beneath that is a person who really wants to hope that there can be change and that there can be a future for his people, and just needs that little spark to ignite that in him. And we get to go with him on that journey, and that's super cool. So again, he's got some baggage that we're going to deal with, but more to come on him in a bit. And we haven't really heard a whole lot from Ashley yet, but you can tell, even from like the little bits that we've had with her, she has a lot more sort of, they all have a lot more nuances to their characters than we've seen right now. And we'll get into that later. But you can tell right from the start that, like, she is very concerned about her crew and her fellow soldiers, right? Like, that means the most to her. Obviously, she's a military person. She takes orders and she follows commands and this, that, and the other. But she puts a lot on her own shoulders. She takes responsibility for a lot of things, which is commendable, even though, you know, a lot of that stuff is not necessarily her responsibility or her fault. It is admirable that she takes responsibility for all those things. Every person that is under her, in her squad or under her leadership, she cares about those people, and she knows their names, and she knows their relationships with their families, and that stuff is important to her. People are important to her. And yes, she has some issues with aliens, but that is gonna make sense with some stuff that we find out from her later. And she's able to sort of grow past that, and I think with this crew begin to see her fellow crewmates, which are going to include all of these aliens, and have that same kind of caring that she has always had for her other squad mates, for them too. And I think that really helps her grow. So I think Ashley in particular gets a lot of flack as like being the worst, and I disagree with that, right? Like, obviously she has flaws in her character, and if, you know, you had to choose between her and someone like Wrex or Garrus or Tali, who we're going to talk to in a minute, you know, it's not going to be her. But I do think that she is a good character, and I do like her. I think she is likable, and I really, like, I think that aspect of her especially, that she cares so deeply for the other people around her, more than she cares about herself, is a nice character feature. So that's Ashley. And now we've got Tali Zora Noraya. Is great. Let's talk to her a little bit, and then we'll talk about her a little bit.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So the Geth share brainpower?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
Hey, you can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the veil. Now we drift through space, exile, searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place, but we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
So Tali gives us a lot of insight into the Geth and the Quarians and how that conflict began. Although that is coming from what has been passed down to her from her people. And an interesting culture, you know, that they have, these sort of people who are displaced from their home, floating throughout the galaxy on these sort of barges that are collected together, and these ships that they've kept patched up for centuries, right? And then, you know, they send people out to sort of learn from the rest of the galaxy and bring that technology and knowledge back to them. It's just a really interesting concept for a race. And as a point, all of the races that are in this series, like, they have that sort of really good fantasy or sci-fi writing about them, where like they feel familiar, like they have their sort of tropes. These are the sort of pilgrims, nomads, and techies, and then you've got sort of the Krogans that are like the warlike species, and you've got the Turians who are the battle masters, and you have the Asari who are the sort of they're the space elves, right? They're the long-lived, wise species, right? So like each one has its sort of familiarity to it, but they all do unique. You know, they have something about them that feels unique to them, and so, you know, it's good writing, it's good world building, where, you know, you can immediately kind of connect with these different peoples and different races and things because they feel so familiar. They're like, you can understand them, they fall into sort of these understandable categories. But you want to know more about them, or at least I do, more about their culture and more about their history and just how they all sort of came about and work together and work independently and all of that good stuff. So anyway, again, good writing, good stuff, good world building. As far as Tali herself, you know, in this game, she's kind of the wide-eyed, I don't know, nerd, which is really endearing. She's kind of similar to Liara in that way, because like even though Liara is like 107, 106, they're both very young. You know, Tali is just reaching adulthood. In fact, until she comes back from her pilgrimage, she's not even accepted as an adult. And Liara is very young for her species. And so, you know, whereas sort of Garrus and Wrex, and even like Kaiden and Ashley are not fresh soldiers, right? Like they've been around, they've done some tours of duty, they've grown up in the galaxy, whereas both Tali and Liara have been somewhat removed from it. And with both of them, I know we haven't met Liara yet, but we'll talk about her a little more when we get her. But just these two are sort of similar in that they kind of provide that sort of fresh sort of wonder, right, to how much is out here, and sort of learning more about the wider galaxy and the connections between peoples. And Tali nerds out over technology stuff, and you know, is just kind of out to prove herself, you know, as an adult and as someone who is capable. And we will find that she is very, very capable. You know, and there's more to that. There's more to sort of her connections with her people, and wanting to better herself and better her people, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of a journey that she goes on. But there's also her own kind of relationship with her people and the Geth, and them being the Quarians being their Geth's creators, and having sort of a feeling of responsibility for what is happening, and also learning that they don't have all of the pieces of the story, and that's not 100% in this game, but it starts to build in this game. And I think for her especially, but for all the characters, there's this aspect of growth that happens over the course of the game, where it's like they learn that what they may have originally believed about the universe and about people and about what's important needs to have a little bit of a shift, and they make that shift. And that's, people have good arcs in this. They have really nice character arcs over the whole series and within this game itself. So it's exciting to be sort of at the beginning of that journey, and to see where people are, and then to kind of reflect later on where they go. So that's your initial crew, but we do have one more crew member to pick up. And we are going to go do that now, because we need our Dr. Chisoni. So yeah. So we're going to open the galaxy map and head to the Artemis Tau cluster, but it's been a little bit, and so I'm going to end this part. It has been fun to sort of go around and talk to everyone, and just sort of talk a little bit about the characters and my take on them, and how I see them, and how I like them, that sort of thing. So thank you for hanging with me. I hope that this has been entertaining for you. I hope you're enjoying this game. It's just, there's so much that this series and this game in particular does right. And I find myself just like nerding out more and more and more about it as I continue to play it. It's been a while since I played this first one, and it's really cool to go back and play it with sort of a little bit of an older perspective, I guess. Like, I'm older now and I have a little bit more, I don't know, wisdom maybe than I had back when I played this at first. Like, I knew I loved it, but I don't know that I could articulate exactly why and all the different nuances and things, and I still probably am not perfect at doing that. You know, I'm not a writer, and I'm not a professional critic or anything like that. But I do love this game, and I appreciate being able to share that with some of you. So take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.